Chapter 48. The cause of distorting my teachings. My teachings have been distorted only because instead of a living relationship with the Father, there has appeared a dead ritual and dogma that I have tried to substitute for that very living relationship. However, nothing can substitute for this living relationship, since it is from the Father, who is changeless, and not from man, who is changing all the time. Man can only discover this living bond with the Father by discovering the Father within his own self. As long as man has not discovered this relationship through the discovery of the Father within his own self, he has no other evidence that would be sufficiently substantial against the dead rituals and dogmas. He either follows them or even turns away from him altogether and starts denying the presence of God. Such is the choice of his own free will. Your present day life has changed so much since the age when I was walking as one of you and among you, having the human form. Fairly many of you do not believe in the real existence of my person altogether, and this disbelief is due to no other fact but the distortions of my teachings that have been performed by my beloved disciples that I have singled out as my apostles. They have failed to understand my teachings, and you have been paying a very high price for this misunderstanding, and this price will even go up during the lives of the generations to come, when the distortions of my teachings will still bear their fruit to other generations for a long time. It is namely to restore the truth that I am presenting my own teachings through my present apostle, through my disciple, who is walking along my path himself and leading others. Therefore, I trust him. Meanwhile, the Father's will and my will is that he would receive my corrected teachings and would pass them to all of you, so you would be able to read them and apply them in your personal living. This path is the only and true path to feel me as alive as the one resurrected from the material death. If the then apostles of mine had abided by my precise teachings, today you would not be faced with such a confrontation between Islam and Christianity, and the confrontation of these two with Judaism. You all would have one and the same universal Father, who would unite you all into one family, even as I have taught you. While now, those who have the religion bearing my name cannot arrive at an agreement even among themselves as to how to profess me. Your rituals from without have divided them. Christianity has been divided into smaller segments so that they separated you out of a loving family to the churches and the church communities that do not associate among themselves. It happened merely due to the difference in the outer rituals and due to the prophesying of the dead dogma that I came to this world, and by dying on the cross I redeemed your sins. You have been implanting that generation upon generation from one's young age, and by this disrupting the peace and mind of all. That is not true. Never can anyone redeem a single sin. Sins are not redeemed. That is the old belief of the Jews, which since the times of Moses, has always been spreading the understanding that a sacrifice to God is necessary to have one's sins redeemed. Prior to the times of Moses, the Jews had practiced the sacrifice of what was the dearest to man, the firstborn son. Moses has stopped this cruel and savage sacrifice and replaced the human sacrifice by the animal sacrifice. But very soon, the smart dealer clergy turned it into a good profit once they started introducing their own grading standards of the size of the sacrifice, depending upon the size of an animal of the size of a sin. But very soon, the smart dealer clergy turned it into a good profit once they started introducing their own grading standards of the size of the sacrifice, depending upon the size of an animal. The size of a sin was redeemed. Still later, they came to an idea of a monetary ransom, so that it was also possible to ransom one's sins by giving money instead of an animal. That is absolutely a wrong path, leading away from God. It is similar to any restraint of the needs of one's body that is presented as a sacrifice to God so that He would be merciful and forgiving. All your inventions, that fasting or any forms of vows, that you shall become good if you receive a cure from some disease or if you get out of some seeming to you difficult situation, are nothing else but this very same sacrifice of the Jews attempting to bribe God. If only you could know how loving and merciful the Father is, you would certainly not try to bribe the Father by this sacrificial and ritualistic behavior, and by living in that childish and unwise manner. The Father is so loving and so merciful that He does not need any sacrifice from you. He forgives your sins even though you do not ask Him to be forgiven. Only you shall not feel this forgiving within your own soul until your soul opens up to Him in all its sincerity. It is only in this case that you shall really experience a feeling of relief within, without any other sacrifice, merely by becoming sincere with God Himself. This is the only seeming sacrifice that satisfies the Father. And still, there is a better gift to Him, which is your sincere love for Him, me, and any other brother or sister of yours. You cannot give the Father anything greater as your own gift, since it is the Father Himself who is the source of all abundance. Thus, what else can you present to the Father once He has everything? He has got even all of you and each of you within Himself, and He has bestowed His own fragment, the thought adjuster, upon each of you. And the Spirit of the Father indwells each of you, and all the time is leading you further away from the sin. Therefore, the greatest gift to the Father is the one that is also the most necessary to each of you, without any exceptions. Whether you are a president or a poor homeless one, the best gift to Him is the only one, the discovery of the Father's Spirit within one's own self, and the feeling of His love for both the Father and all brethren, without any material gifts or any renunciation of one's own self. You must also know one more very important thing, as to why I have not come to redeem your sins. I have just told you once again that it is your love that is necessary to the Father, and it is the only thing that can deliver you and everyone from sins. Now I shall tell you the following. Nobody can, as you say, redeem the sins of others. It also means that nobody can redeem the sins of all the others. Therefore, however hard it was my physical suffering on the cross, I could not redeem even the lightest sin of yours. And why is it so? I've just told you. The Father is merciful and loving. Thus, He does not require any suffering on your part, so that having satisfied Himself by your suffering, He would pronounce to you, enough, I forgive you.